Welcome everybody to another Fuel Esports broadcast. We got some Overwatch action today. Fuel Esports versus SIUC Black. I am Newt. I'm joined by Dragon. How we doing today?
I'm doing really good. I'm really excited for tonight. We know how big this match is. It's the playoffs. Everyone coming into this, they know it's a do or die scenario, so they got to bring their A game and bring everything to the table.
Exactly. As the playoffs here, if we take a look at our bracket, you'll see Fuel is up against SIUC Black. Winner of this is going to fight winner of Purdue Black and University of Michigan JV. And then we'll see how they keep on going. But it's one match at a time for all of these teams, and they're trying to get themselves to this semifinals. And we'll see what roster Fuel is going to open it up with.
Well, as we can see, we got Bugaboo on support. We got Artemis also on support. We got the Door on DPS, a little Spark also on the DPS. Then we got Scummy on the tank. So we got a really good lineup. We've seen these players before. We know how deadly they can be as a team. Now it's just a matter, can they just start annihilating Illinois?
Yeah, vibes in the room are feeling good so far. Chatting with a couple of players as well as the coach. They're feeling confident coming to this match. And the thing with this roster that's like kind of more unique compared to a lot of other rosters is they do substitutions a lot. So you'll see Scummy and Door kind of swap here and there. You'll see Spark and Woody swap. You'll see Door and Woody. You'll see a lot of different swaps.
If they sub in Woody, that will be a dangerous thorn in SIUC side.
Likely we'll see a Woody sub in eventually. But
Sombra.
Instead, this first map here, we'll be seeing this classic roster going to be going on the control side. Not sure what map we're going to be on yet, but I mean, there's still a lot of options. Fuel shown some real flashes of brilliance in these control maps, completely started to dominate these series in the past. But again, it's just one map at a time, one game at a time, and we'll have to see.
Yeah, and I'm really curious as we go into this, has anything kind of changed, especially coming off of the LAN that we had against Western University, because they absolutely annihilated Western at the LAN.
Yeah, Fuel dominated Western at the LAN. We'll see how they end up doing against SIUC. There was a patch that did change up the meta a little bit here and there, so we might be seeing some new characters being picked, but we'll see how both teams end up adapting to that. But first, I think we're going to have to take a quick short break as we load into that lobby.
Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I will soon. Know as a child back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my room. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom.
And here we are starting off with Game 1. We are on Legion Tower. The game mode is Control, and already first blood goes to SIUC taking out Delphi.
Yeah, the Kiriko already going to pick off Artemis there in the Kiriko matchup, as well as the Pharah getting a direct rocket onto Scummy. The door falls as well, so this first fight already seems just slipped out of Fool's grasp. They are running the classic dive comp we're expecting from them with this, this Kiri Wuyong, this Tracer Genji that we've come to see when Scummy is on the team, as well as Dorn playing as Winston, versus a lot more brawly of a comp as long as Poke, with Kiri Lucio and the Junker Queen be forcing that front line, forcing that Winston back a lot, as the Pharah gonna have really no pressure on her this game. There's a lack of hit scan from the side of Fuel, so we'll see if they can end up dealing with this. As Moo is gonna be a little bit of trouble here main, but he's just gonna end up surviving as Rampy finds Spark. Looks like the second fight already going the way of SIU.
You can see Mod takes out one, Rangy takes out Bugaboo, and once this actually puts points on the board for SIUC. Black to secure this point. They might be able to get to at least around 50%. Fuel needs to find a strong offensive now. You can see Scummy swapped off to the Cassidy. Spark still staying on Tracer. The door swapping over to Diva.
Yeah, it works a little bit better in this brawl matchup to kind of deal with the Junker being a little bit easier, as well as the Cassidy is now going to be your answer. Both kind of the Tracer, but especially the Spara will be the shooting out of the sky. It's really been a problem, but Moo already going to pick off Artemis here as the Rampage comes out, finds 4 members of Fuel, and it seems like just this third fight again, just going over almost instantaneously to SIUC. Fuel struggling to find any sort of footing here as Door is going to be picked off at the end. The mech falls. Spark getting getting staggered a little bit later there, 70%. 4 ultimates up for SIUC versus just the Pulse Bomb and the Wuyong Alt 4 Fuel. So Artemis might be able to get this Curiel in time. We'll see how much value this Tidal Blast can have from Bugaboo, as Thor is pushing out main here, trying to get as much value. The Tidal Blast is used, but it just gets moved away. Cleanse as well survived as Ranchy picks off Spark.
Yeah, Ranchy's been really holding their own. Scummy, however, manages to take out Ranchy. That is a good pickoff, but will it be enough? They are trying to stride into that bar. Is it going to be enough to get the kill, though? It's not. Scummy gets fallen out. Mod gets both Scummy and Bugaboo going for a third. Will they get the third? They get the third onto Delphi. Now they're just slamming into Diva, trying to break off that mech. They manage to almost eject the mech. Mod gets another one to Spark, and that is now, they're on a 15-player kill streak, and they just aced the entire team.
Yeah, Fuel gonna fall this first map on Legion Market 100-0 in an absolute domination from SIUC Black here. Moo and Ranchy really coming alive. As soon as that first fight goes over, Fuel just can never find their footing to get a retake, and they're just going to fall instantly. Might have to go back to the drawing board, maybe a little bit of a comp difference here. We'll see what they end up deciding, as that map was, at that point, was domination, really.
Really did really insane, and I'm honestly speechless. I don't really know what the drawing board strategy for Fuel could be, because SIUC just kind of proved they're up for blood.
Yeah, we'll see how they end up doing here as we're heading to Control Center. So a lot more close quarters, which favors this SIUC comp. Door switching over to the Reinhardt. They want to fight. They want to brawl. They're not going to let this Junker Queen kind of go uncontested here, as already though the shield being forced out with a lot of health. Ooh, falling low, gets pocketed. Knife comes in as the Carnage is used, but Axe Swing finds 2. As again, this first fight just over in the blink of an eye for SIUC. Pause comes in here for Fuel, as maybe one of their players is having a little bit of tech issues. Might be the problem here, as it feels like something has to be wrong. Bugaboo's game is going to be almost DC'd here. PC ended up crashing there in that last game, or that last fight, which means it's a little unfortunate here. As well as your ultimate charge is going to get reset because of how Overwatch ends up working, is that as soon as you DC, you get put back right down to 0 ult charge.
Really? It's
Yeah,
just like,
it's
hey,
quite-
you're disconnected, so we're just going to drain all of your resources.
It's quite unfortunate indeed, but it is only after first fight, so there wasn't much ult built anyways. See how long this tech pause ends up taking, as this has been a little bit of a problem here for Fuel. I mean, they just have to find some sort of answer. It feels like Moo is just a complete problem. Finds one knife, finds a Carnage Swing to find 2 there, as looks like it might be moving of the PCs here for Bugaboo just to try to fix something, try to get them into this game.
With changing of the computers, it might be what is needed. They're getting up, they're transferring, so we'll see what happens here. But there's a silver lining in this. As this tech pause goes, this gives the team an opportunity to kind of figure, okay, we got to break through their line. We need to do something, i.e. take out Moo.
Yeah, something has to change. I mean, the DPS are a problem here for Fuel. I mean, both the DPS and the tank of SIUC are just completely dominating in this neutral fight. Fuel really haven't had an ultimate fight because they've just been over before anything because one of these picks come out either from the Genji or that Junker Queen. Moo, again, yeah, a real problem in the front line. Ranchi and Yuvero, a fantastic follow-up here with the dive. I mean, they're playing this brawl comp, but they have such a mobile front line that it really, or DPS line, that it really causes problems for Fuel. And Fuel always kind of struggles into these Lucio comps as they don't have a Lucio player of their own, right? So you can't really match the speed that Lucio is able to bring. So the best you can do is kind of play that more pokey fight, play that little bit of range, use your range advantage. But when you're trying to play a rush comp and you don't have a Lucio, you're kind of fighting into a very hard matchup.
That is really true, and so far, like, SIUC has played a flawless attack and defense, and even now, like, right before the tech pause, they secured the point before the point was even unlocked.
Yeah, indeed. This point has been, first point obviously was completely over in about felt like 2 minutes until it was the full point was gone. This one already starting on a back foot for Fuel here, but they'll see if they can try to fix something as tech issues hopefully getting solved quickly. It seems like Bugaboo has moved over PCs, so we'll be able to eventually load into the game.
Hey, that might be the lucky PC, because right before, their substitute Woody was playing a full-blown game of Valorant and won.
Indeed, yeah.
So
the swap there. We'll see how much value, if this PC can do anything. I mean, hopefully the tech issues ended up being the problem for Fuel. They can find their footing. This pause as well gives them a little bit of time to breathe, take a step back, think about what they need to do. As loading in very shortly here. Hopefully.
And also, like, hydrate, like what Scummy was doing. Just get some hydration in.
It's always important just to stay as calm as possible. Bugaboo back in the game. Fuel should be loading in shortly here, as seeing if they can find their footing after this first fight did end up going over. Moo and Yuvero are going to be up a fairly decent chunk of ult charge comparatively to their their compatriots are going to be equal ult charge. So there's not much deficit just because of how fast the fight ended up ending.
Yeah.
There will be a support difference for the ults because of the fact that Bugaboo did end up DCing, so we'll be back to 0. But hopefully Fuel, they don't get discouraged by that. They come right back in and they try to take this.
Yeah, Boyce is just transferring PCs, as he does all the time.
Having some fun in the field room right now as Bugaboo loading in shortly, but surely here, as see, kind of Fuel can find the answer.
I think they can. They just, like I said, they gotta take out Moo. They gotta break through this line that SIUC has set up. And honestly, it has to go through probably flank denial, annihilation, isolation. They just need to figure. I'm just gonna sound like a complete broken record. They need to break this line.
And
that's what they gotta do.
We're back in Bugaboo, back into the lobby. Going to be going towards this Kiri Ana comp here, so find that poke comp, right? But again, Door is over towards this. Scummy gonna switch over to the Torbjorn to try to match these flankers, this frontline damage of SIUC. If this ends up working, the big thing as they're hammering the turret, but it's broken before he can blink from the shurikens. But it does seem like Moo is going to
finally
fall. Just plays a little bit too aggressive, and now Fuel can start to advance. Door free swinging here with that hammer as able to push in, pick off the Lucio as well in this first fight in the entire series so far has been taken by Fuel.
And fairly quickly too. It seems that SIUC was really taking on that back line really, really quickly. So whatever just happened during that break, you even see here, Moo is just going face-to-face, toe-to-toe with the Reinhardt, with the Torbjorn firing with support. They're going to take it down to half health. They're just hugging through. Ranji, however, managed to take out Little Spark. They're now pushing in. Yariel managed to take out Scummy's turret. Yariel takes out Delphi, but they go through, and Ranji managed to take it with Stinky Slinky, take out Bugaboo, and we're right back to where we were before.
We're right back to SIUC being in the lead. Ranchi with a beautiful Dragon Blaze, maybe they'll pick off 2 members of Fuel as the rest of them are going to fall. Now, Fuel has a nano boost here as well as a shatter. We'll see if they can make some value out of that. There is a pulse bomb, as the heat is to be here soon, but instead Scummy's just going to fall dry to the headshots of Ranty. Those shurikens deadly. Cleanse a little bit late there from Bugaboo, which means Spark is going to fall as well, and now Fuel sent packing towards their spawn, but Door does get a trade onto the tank, so move a little bit overextension, and now Fuel, once these respawns come in, they can start to play. Force the advantage. Seems like Thor is already doing that, charging in, now holding the shield, gets healed up, but gets stuck by the pulse bomb. A beautiful cleanse, though, from Bugaboo is going to keep Thor alive, and Thor's just going to keep on swinging in this main.
And Whittle Spark holding off with range support with the Cassidy. Gets a grenade off. The High Noon is locked and loaded, ready to go in case they did secure the point. It is being contested now. The Fireflies are going. The door is looking real. It is High Noon. We'll see. Will it get some picks off?
Clear out.
No. The door however, gets the double kill.
Yeah, the High Noon forces them all to walk away, which means Fuel finds much value. He's on a headshots, do so much damage. Fade Circle finds that late trade onto Scummy. Fuel in a little bit of trouble going back to the drawing room here, as they're going to have to take this retreat, give up percentage over SIUC, who got this first half. As now the Mauga is going to be the switch for Door, playing this brawl, just wants to run over the front line of SIUC, but this anti-heal from Moo is going to be the counter to the Mauga healing. Ranchi already breaking that turret, but Aura is a real problem for Fuel. They haven't really found the answer yet as Spark finally finds that shot with the silver bullet. As the charge comes in, the Tsune Rush is used. Fuel fighting into aiding game.
But Whittle Spark just got a triple.
Spark down 3.
And then Bugaboo managed to get the fourth, and now the point is now going over to Fuel Esports. SIUC only managing to get 43% on the board.
Yeah, SIUC only with 43 leading here. See if they can keep this up as Fuel struggling here. I take this first fight, but they're kind of struggling a little bit here. As try to take hot shots. The silver bullet comes in again as Spark coming close to getting that High Noon. Nano boost is used onto Door as he stomps in, charges aggressively. Spark taking these shots at Moo. Moo going to be in trouble, but the beat comes in as the barrage is going to rain down bullets. Those rockets from above. Ranchi gets the 2-pace. Door finds that trade. 4 for 1 though, as Door is left alone on point. 40% for Fuel even, but it's back in SIUC's favor.
And this is where Fuel has minimal chances now to really bring in an attack, assault, solidify defense. You do have that Floor's Lava ult from Scummy. You also have the High Noon from Whittle Spark with the Malga ult being ready right now. Bugaboo slowly making their way with Delphi only falling back behind. You only have a Pulse Bomb and the Rampage ult on the side of SIUC.
Moo though finding that early pick onto Scummy, which means Fuel's fighting into a deficit. See the cage come out here for Door. Going to catch the Lucio, but the Lucio is just so mobile, so speedy, as nothing able to stop it here. Door though going to keep the stomps up. Barrel though finding raids as feels like Fuel fall yet again.
Now you can also see with these exchanges with Torbjorn trying to get some long distance fights out. A 1v1 going out. This isn't looking good. Moo just takes out Bugaboo, and now it is back in the secured hands of SIUC. 90%. They have one more chance, and the Door is bringing out the Death Hamster.
The beautiful Rampage there from Moo is going to find 3 members of Fuel, and it seems like their hopes to take Zhong here on Garden are going to go away with that Rampage. Tsune used just for that extra bit of insurance, as there's just one player left alive of Fuel. He's not be able to touch as it's just Artemis. Moo jumps into the pit, ends the round. SIUC taking map 1, 2-1.
This is going to be tough, but it's possible.
Pharah was a little bit of a problem here for Fuel, as well as the Junker Queen, so I think that's where you're looking as far as bans are concerned. If we go to Flashpoint, you're definitely going to see a Lucio ban, I think, as the Lucio just makes the speed aim all in SIUC's favor. They did end up winning that close quarters brawl when the Reinhardt was able to be played. It feels like they're going to have to. Now it's their map pick. We'll see what they end up doing if they make any substitutions, if they choose a specific map. As I think Fuel, it's definitely a winnable series.
And the second game mode is push, correct?
Could be anything. It's completely
right.
wide open. Fuel does historically like to pick push a lot. We'll see, as they have a lot of options. They like push. They like Flashpoint. They're not against hybrid, and they're okay with escort. as all 4 maps are gonna. If they want to take this one, they're gonna have to play 4 or 5 maps at the very least. And judging by how the series is going, if Fuel wants to take something, I think they're gonna have to go to 5.
Oh, we're going to have to go to a map 5 to close this out. These are the types of games where you want a map 5 because it just makes it all much more satisfying when you take the win. Because right now, Fuel held their own, getting a point on the board proves that they can fight. Now they got to make sure they can get a point for the series.
Yeah, first point was completely domination.
Oh,
the set
yeah.
of SIUC. Second point, a back and forth brawl that Fuel ended up taking. Third point, a back and forth brawl that SIUC ended up taking. If that's a sign for the series, there might be some stomps here and there, but it feels like we're going to be in a brawly match. We'll see as we go into map 2. Don't go anywhere.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the 11th week of the Fuel Esports Weekly Update. We're hot off of our biggest event of the season, and playoffs are in full swing. Let's talk about how it's going so far. First off, let's recap what happened last week. We were so excited to have everyone out for the Battle of the Forest City charity land in support of Extra Life. It was a great event, and we were so happy to see all of you enjoying it. And thank you to Western Esports and Gaming Association for partnering with us and bringing the energy as well. We'll still be accepting donations at fsu.ca/extralife, and we'll be posting photos and videos of behind the scenes on our social media at Fanshawe Fuel in the upcoming weeks. On Monday, we held our second EAFC night of the year on EAFC 26. You guys still love the new game, and we're going to continue doing it with another one coming up next month. Make sure you come out for that one. Playoffs are here, and Fuel Esports is in the competition. Our rosters are fighting for their spots in their respective divisional or national championships, like Fuel Esports Call of Duty, who unfortunately was the first to fall after a loss to Texas A&M International in NECC Varsity Premier. To stay up to date with all of our playoff updates, make sure you follow us at Fanshawe Fuel to see daily score reports and our weekly stream schedules, which you can watch live at twitch.tv/Fanshawe Fuel or on Rogers TV on channel 13. Speaking of Rogers TV, let's talk about what's coming up soon. We're happy to announce that Rogers TV will be airing the full Battle of the Forest City charity land on channel 13. We'll be back with an update on a specific date and time as they become available. And finally, we'll be back next Monday for another Monday night game night for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Melee. We'll be in Four-Wall Hall at 6 p.m. for friendlies, and the bracket will begin at 7. Make sure you show up early to get signed up. And that's all for this week. Connect with us at Fanshawe Fuel on all social media so you don't miss any future updates. We'll be back with another one next Tuesday.
you left and told me that you hate me. But then man, I seen you kissing at that place we always drinking. Is the reason that I'm singing. One more shot is what I'm missing. I know I will risk it all, 'cause you're my fireball. You won't have to crawl when you gon' fly away with me. The way you lift me up, just can't get enough. Pull me out the dust, then you take me higher. This that love that don't expire, no. I got that undivided love, my fireball. Don't need no drinks when I can vibe with you. Don't need no green when I can fly with you. These lights are falling down on us right now. Yeah, and you're still shining bright. Don't need no drinks when I can vibe with you. Don't need no green when I can fly with you. These lights are falling down on us right now, and you're still shining bright. I would risk it all, 'cause you're my fireball. You won't have to cry when you can fly away with me. The way you lift me up, I just can't get enough. Pull me out the dust, then you take me higher. This that love that don't expire, no. I got that undivided love, divided love. 'Cause I will risk it all, oh, 'cause you're my fireball. Oh, you won't need to grow when you can fly away with me. Don't need no drinks when I can vibe with you. Don't need no green when I can fly with you. These nights are falling down on us right now, and you're still
Welcome back, everybody, into map 2 here. We're on New Queen Street. Fuel going to end up being banning the Diva, as SIUC ended up banning the Sojourn here. We'll see what this first fight's going to come down to, as it's Cassidy, Tracer, or Fuel versus the Genji Tracer. Ranchi going to first have to find that first pick on the Cassidy. Door is now playing, as Scummy is going to be your Zarya here. Seems like this first fight, right back to what we started on, Lijiang. It's going to be SIUC favor to Spark, to hop off the map, get a quick reset in. Fuel end up changing up the comp here as again, no. Right back on to this Junker Queen. Just not having an answer for this. They're gonna roll out same comp. Hopefully they find some sort of answers for Wuyong. Throwing these orbs here from Bugaboo. It's not gonna be much other than just hot shots. They're gonna have to use that netting shout just to get away here. Knife comes in, does not find anything. But willing to use the health here, but actually a little bit of an overt extension. As Moo's going to fall to 0 energy. Zarya as well as Artemis hitting that headshot. Spark hitting with cleanup kill onto the Lucio. Fuel, it ended up conceding 42 meters in that first fight. They will be able to take the next one, though a beautiful trade there from Faded Circle means Fuel will not be able to push the advantage as much as they would like to.
And as Fuel starts to actually get at least some points on the board for this, these exchanges of fire, you can see Scummy was putting in the work, that damage over time, just shredding, bleeding up the damage to allow another member of Field to come in and start actually mopping the high damage to get the kill. This is where Fuel's composition and defense is going to come into play, because they're actually almost about to tie and get to that point. It does get contested at the 37-37 mark, however.
Wuyong ult used though. Ranchi forced to dash away from it, as Scummy is going to knock down Moo with it, which means the tank's going to fall, as Scummy, a full energy Zarya, is going to be able to do so much damage here in the front line. Finds one, finds two, tries to get those right clicks onto the Kiri, finds one. Going to use this jump, try to find as much value here. Try to track this Kiri, who's just going to get the TP away. They lead, going over to Fuel here, as they did end up collecting the checkpoint as well. They're fighting right back. The Ram switch here for Moo, and Scummy has to be careful. He does only have 2 bubbles. He's able to back off. Still max energy, has this Graviton surge. The Kitsune is traded. Grab, still here. No more deflect for the side of the Genji. Going to use the blade, but he's going to fall after Slinky picks up Artemis. 2 picks there for the Lucio. Fuel still in favor, as Scummy actually might be in trouble here. Lucio ends up finding a third in the meantime, but Scummy and Spark able to clean this up. Scummy left with 10 HP and a dream.
That could have gone a complete other way. And look at the ult composition. We have 3 ults on the side of Fuel, only 2 on the side of SIUC. Ranchi actually swapping out to the Reaper, so we're actually getting some Reaper plays here.
More frontline damage, right?
Oh yeah.
Being able to pressure Scummy a little bit more. Now this Graviton will get responded by the beat here from Stinky Slinky, so not too much damage to grab. Forces out that defensive ultimate. Door, though, going to fall in the meantime, just kind of stuck in main as Spark trying to find these trades, but Ranchi and Moo able to just walk down. Scummy finds that trade onto Moo, which means a little less push here for SIUC, which is crucial. Fuel almost hit that 100-meter mark, but we stopped at 94.68. A solid 50-meter lead, as well as the fact that SIUC has to get to this midpoint to try to, get that cap, try to get that checkpoint. But Fuel has these forward spawns due to the fact that SIUC was not able to march the plot back in time, so they'll be able to contest early before this checkpoint fight even starts right here in this main.
And as the fight begins to start, the exchanges go out. Little Spark almost getting killed there, but managed to get recovered. The Door gets it down to half. Firing off shots, managed to get a couple of precision tags, but not enough. The high noon does come into play. Will it find its mark? 3, 2, 1. It finds 1.
Right as the shield expires there, Door pulling the trigger. Finds that headshot onto the Reaper, but does not find the final blow. There's another trade here for the set of SIUC, but Fuel fighting right back. Scummy take here for that extra boot for self-jump. Not what you see on Zarya anymore, especially since that other perk, Palmer, you gain energy on right click, is just so powerful, but favors this perk. He likes that mobility, especially on a map like this that's so, vertically important as Fuel. I'm not going to get too much more pressure. 5 minutes left on the clock as Barrel here going to be pushing in main, pressuring this Fury. Again, their pulse bombs keep getting stopped by cleanses from the side of Fuel, either Artemis or Bugaboo. However, they do pick off Artemis. A lack of healing here, but Door, a beautiful headshot onto Barrel. Stops that push, is now Spark pretty much uncontested here in the backline. Gonna have to use that recall defensively, but does have a pulse bomb. I feel like he wants to use this. We have to be careful with a cleanse and a beater here. The front line of SIUC are just falling over to the damage that Scummy, Bugaboo, Door, and Spark, the whole team of Fuel are able to pump out.
See, when the whole team is working together, they're like the Avengers. They all have their roles to play, and they are playing them perfectly, and they are slowly pushing this front line against SIUC. I don't think SIUC really has a composition really to counter this. They just do not have the damage. The Door gets a pipe bomb kill.
A beautiful grab there from Scummy to stop the Annihilation push there from SIUC, who used that, speed boost from Stinky Slinky. Use the Annihilation to try to get as much damage as possible. Punches, though, coming in. Finds 2 here. He's going to keep on swinging, even though a beautiful, use that Graviton just to stop the Annihilation from getting too much value. Means you also ended up losing your own ultimate, as Moo is just going to be able to keep themselves alive and finally get those late kills with that punch. Bubble comes on to Spark. It's not cause too much outside of just a little bit more pot shots here. Pulse Bomb, been cooking for a while. Let's see if Spark can find its mark, as both teams have Curie ult. The Wuyong ult advantage for Fuel pretty big here. Speaking of Wuyong ult, used aggressively onto Spark here just to try to get those flanks. Moo knocked down, Stinky Slinky low. Spark forced to use that recall just to run away, but it means Moo ended up falling as they were able to push the rest of the team away. Supports were not able to keep. A little bit of a lob there, did not find its mark. Enough if Fuel able to push in here and stop.
It made
this snowball going, as now it's back onto their side of the court.
It made them fall back. So that pulse bomb, unfortunately, even though it didn't find its mark, it made SIUC fall back. And we only have 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock, with Fuel still holding a really good, comfortable distance lead.
Indeed, as the Kitsune is going to be traded out for both teams here. Scummy, though, a full charge Zarya is a bit of a problem, especially with this attack speed boost from the Kitsune Rush. Door finds one with Dead Eye, but the Pulse Bomb is traded as Barrel made his circle, finding their marks. It's just Scummy left alive here on main, not having enough damage to kill Moo when it's switching over to the Zarya themselves, and lived, I want to say, less than 50 HP there. Scummy having to be stuck in that reload animation. 2 minutes left on the clock. Fuel have not been able to push that meterage any further than this 96-meter spot. SIUC still haven't even got this checkpoint as the forward spawns are just still in the favor of Fuel.
Well, now they have got that point, so the forward spots are coming out as the contesting starts to build in this street. The street-to-street fighting is going to ensue. You do have an ultimate available for Scummy as everyone else slowly starts to build. There's the beat drop, however, for Sticky, so he does go instantly the moment it's activated. Now, this is where SIUC might be able to get an engagement in.
Beat drop didn't find any value as
Nope.
it instantly gravitated there from Scummy, able to pick off the Lucio as well as Moo, who just pushed way too far aggressively with that beat. Got stuck in no man's land. Doran and Spark able to get these late trades on the DPS. Again, Fuel back on the gas pedal. I mean, they're not letting go here. Again, that first fight was all SIUC has been able to get meterage-wise. They haven't been able to take any space since that first fight went over. Fuel right back to their forward spawns, right back to the cart being where they want it to be. 1 minute left, and they still have a 50-meter lead. As
Ooh,
Moo,
that's a lot of
dangerously
damage.
Low throws that lob of a grab that finds 3, and Ranchi able to clean that up with a beautiful Death Blossom. Spark, though, trying to find this pick here. He's not able to find the tracking as he's going to be left alive last here. Trying to buy as much time as possible. Quick death there. Fuel resetting here. A beautiful grab in their last dying breath from Moo there, which caught 3 members of Fuel, which meant Reaper was just able to find that much value out of the Death Blossom. Triple orbs here from Bugaboo doing so much damage. Javero, though, has this pulse bomb, same as Spark. Either team can find value with this, or if it's just going to get cleansed away yet again. As 5 hot shots coming in. Kitsune used aggressively. Spark taking this Tracer duel in the main fight. See Kitsune going the favor of SIUC as they actually didn't trade from Fuel. Fuel don't want to take this too disadvantageous, but it feels like they're giving over a lot of space as now. And they have this time because the bot has to pause here to take this checkpoint. We're looking for any trades. They don't find any. Overtime has been triggered. Checkpoint grab for SIUC Fuel. They need 1 fight. SIUC needs likely 2 here. Still all in favor of Fuel as they have 5 ultimates coming up. Just the 1 of SIUC. It's Fuel's game to lose here at this point. And Scummy going to be pushing it aggressive with those bubbles. Kitsune used aggressively here from Fuel just to push out members of SIUC. Spark and Scummy find trades on their respective players as there's not going to be a touch as the members of SIUC are forced away from the point, and the energy is in the room. They're doing a fun little thing in the I mean, Scummy and Spark happy. They're excited after a dominant win. I mean, again, first fight went over, and then the last fight. Those were the only 2 fights at the Reaper play. I mean, yeah, you see, this is not the Death Blossom. This is just straight shooting.
Hold on, so we didn't even
Reaper.
use the Death Blossom.
No, he did in the other play, but this is not that play. This is a different play of the game as Fuel tying up the score on their map pick 1-1. Let's see where SIUC takes us. Could be many different maps. Fuel, it might be a disadvantage, but now the momentum is in their favor as they were able to stop the snowball of SIUC. Again, the first fight went over to them, but since then, Fuel took over on that map.
I think Fuel played really smart because they could have tried to kind of push to get the entirety to actually secure the objective point. All they had to do was get a nice, comfortable lead, which they did, and they just had to hold it and bleed the time. And they were securing their fights. You had Little Spark on the back line. You had Scummy on the front line. You then also had Bugaboo and Delphi being insane on support. And overall, the way it worked out, it was solid.
Indeed.
Solid play, solid coordination.
Solid coordination, solid play, and that's really all you need to keep on Snowball. Fuel looking to take a series lead here as they did end up tying us up. We'll see where they go on map 3, what the picks are going to be, what the bans are going to be. Have to wait, though. Don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned. And we are here with Game 3. The map is Hollywood. The game mode is hybrid. Let's get some Grammys, shall we?
Indeed, indeed. As Fuel end up banning away the Pharah that was such a problem for them on Lijiang.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Going to be banning away the Wuyong, and they are running a Lifeweaver Baptiste comp here with a Mei and a Freya. A very interesting comp here for SIUC. Not anything you'd be seeing normally. Playing a little bit off meta here to try to trip up Fuel's muscle memory. As Fuel playing about probably the most standard comp you can right now with the Sojourn, Tracer, DPS line. Eva, the strongest tank right now. As well as, you know, you're going to be seeing the Curie, maybe a Curie Brig because Bugaboo's more confident on that. You'll probably be seeing a Curie Lucio more so. But still, Fuel a lot more confident here. We'll see if they can contend with this Freya who can kind of take over this map, if not be taken care of. But already, Artemis and Scummy going to be running down the backline of Fuel. It feels like they're just starting with the same momentum they had from last map. Ooh, not able to find any trades as Scummy able to get away with 1 HP in a dream. As first fight over, and the first point is already capped for Fuel here on Hollywood.
That was fast and an absolute mirror to what we saw in Map 1. It seems Fuel Esports has really found their groove, and now the Winston coming into play.
Yeah, SIUC door though, getting stuck on a door there. Funnily enough, you know, a little bit of namesake there. Gets stuck, almost falls victim to the hit scan of SIUC, but just not able to find those bolts. Speaking of bolts, Iveril finds them on door, does get that pick. Now, Switch has to be a bit more dive focused for SIUC because of how this second point is structured. There's two major high grounds that they have to be playing on, so the Winston has to be able to contend them, or else the Diva can take it over here. See this high ground. The main first one that Fuel is going to have to try to take. They have an option of either going elevator or just getting up there naturally with their movement. Judging by their team comp, it's going to be an elevator type of comp. So Winston dives in, just trying to get as much damage done as possible as the Freya, sending these bolts, finds a tag here and there. Elevator used from Spark, but it just forces a recall instantaneously, or finds Ranchi with that disruptor shot. The mortality is used here from the Baptiste to keep him alive. Bullet shot, my door, overclock. Finding some value with Bola shot finding 2, meaning it's a little bit of an advantage here for SIUC. The Winston dives in.
And now as the Winston goes after Bugaboo, they do manage to fall back, but 4 ults ready and prepared. Moo taking out Little Spark. The rest of Fuel getting ready for another attack. They need to break this high ground point, because right now SIUC is holding a really good sniper overwatch point, no pun intended, as they go through these choke points.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to take this first point, this first fight here. Because of the fact that Fuel's comp really doesn't have any way to get up on its high ground outside of the elevator. So SIUC can kind of hold it. Kitsune's used up here on top of high ground. But SIUC beautifully kite it, except for the fact that Stinky Slinky does find, but a Primal Raging Monkey in the main is going to find one member, as well as Iveril finding those bolts onto Artemis. Thor, though, finding the trades. Scummy coming right back around, which means members of Fuel, it's 2-2. Ranchi finds door, Sparks Pulse Bomb goes wide, it hits a bubble. Moo able to keep themselves alive as Ranchi finds a second pick here, and SIUC able to stabilize it again. Fuel does have the spawn advantage, so they're able to come in a little bit faster here. So they're just going to reset, play back with their team. Maybe look for some sort of switch, as map is a little bit of a problem for Scummy, as the only really dive tank he plays is this Diva. He does not play the Winston, the ball, so Winston and this dive comp from SIUC. I mean, these long sightlines are fantastic. The Freya door unable to contest with them really with this Sojourn, who kind of excels more in that close fight. Ranchi looking for something with this Dragon Blade here maybe, but pulls it, swinging away, finds one with a dash cancel. Now gets on to the baby Diva in main, finds Kiriko last to deflect here and there on the kunai, and it looks like Fuel is going to stagger. I mean, Fuel is going to be staggered there as Artemis. A little bit of a delayed death. SIUC timing right back into this game after that first fight falls. Fuel just cannot find the answer to get on this high ground door. Says it's going to be a Thorn Spark. Say it's a Genji and a Reaper answer as Scummy switches over to the Darius. They're just going to take this low ground fight, say, through this high ground door, forced to race off of the high ground, but finds Stinky Slinky somehow. In the meantime, as Bugaboo tries to dash forward, Thor finds 2, 3!
Finds 3! What is going on, Dor? He found the answer. They
found
pushed
4.
He found 4, and we found the answer. The amount of territory they just pushed is insane. And he's still going, and he finds a 5th.
pick there for Door, and Fuel finally able to break this hold that SIUC had. Taken over, and now that the fight is sort of more forced forward, where Fuel has the high ground and they're on this low ground, they're going to be in favor. Winston dives in, but the backline of SIUC is left alone without a tank to do anything. In Moo, just in no man's land, just tries to play towards the point. Their whole team is being stuck, corralled in this back here by Doors. Shotgun blasts to the face. Faith Form used just to keep them alive. And Spark there to clean up those kills. Ranchi, 1 HP in a dream. Spark in the backline finding one.
Oh!
Falls to Stinky Slinky.
Wow!
Door just wants to keep pushing this advantage. Fuel cap second point after really only 2 fight wins in total because of how aggressive Door ended up playing there for Scummy. Spark a little bit of an overextension there, which means he's going to fall. Now, Scummy left to remain. It's back to another Zarya ditto, as it seems like Zarya's where both teams kind of comfort. They're like, both Zarya's never going to be bad here on this close quarters fight, especially third point. A lot more close quarters. Door drops down, instantly gets blown up by Faded Circle, who has that window, but doesn't seem to need to use it. Deeper matchup for Ranchi versus Door. Gonna get the better of this first fight. Fuel forced him back away, but a late kick onto Yvarl overextends.
Yeah, and then Little Spark gets that kill. The blade does come out to play. Will it find a mark? That heal is keeping them alive. It's going to be enough. They do manage to get the kill. Goes over, might take the head off. Delphi managed to get one. Scummy gets another. The Door takes a Stinky Slinky. And that's a full team fight. And will we see a secure point here right at the end here?
Fuel dominate here as soon as Door switches over to the Reaper. Going to be able to stop any player here.
The Death Blossom right at the spawn.
The special move is used at the very end. Ranchi, though, did pick it off, but it didn't matter. 1 minute and 30 seconds. Fuel full cap Hollywood. And really the only stopping point was that second point. If Fuel has a good first point defense, they have an equal second point defense, they can completely stop SIUC in their tracks. I mean, domination really as soon as the switch comes in.
Absolutely. Whatever happened where the Door's just like, listen guys, I got this.
Just gonna pick Reaper. I'm gonna go the Reaper guy. Spark as well, switching over to the Genji as well. Scummy switching over to the Zarya. Just meant Fuel were able to contest with that low ground a little bit more. Door basically solo won the high ground fight.
Oh yeah.
Spark was there to follow up a little bit, but really it's all the Reaper show. Now SIUC on the attack. Fuel seeming to stick to something a little bit similar, but they're going to go back to Door on the Sojourn, as you can have a little bit more value in this first point, be able to hold your Disruptor shot, stops the push a little bit, as well as those charge shots are so deadly. Those railguns can completely take over, as SIUC is like a Hazard maybe. I think Hazard's quite a strong pick. Have a little bit more solo carry potential here for SIUC, as we'll see Fuel what SIUC decides to do to break this hold of Fuel. If they can take it over in a first fight, then it'll be dead even as what Fuel ended up doing to themselves.
And the thing is, like, the Door is really good with those precision style heroes. If they can land their shots, they're a problem. They are able to remove the back line. They can take out someone who's sniping, as long as they just have the perfect opportunity and the angle. But already the tank from SIUC coming in, out for blood. The railgun does manage to get some tags, taking out a lot of health. Little Spark, however, is the first to fall on this side swap here.
And honestly, the Sojourn just struggles to fight into the fray here. We can take these wider angles, right? Can take that double bolt over the wall, but does end up getting saved there. Suzu coming on, Door to keep him alive. Disruptor shot ended up Ranchi fall. Moo down to 100 HP, stuck inside of this room. As Tommy gonna force Moo out yet again. They're trying to retake this high ground, which has been controlled by SIUC, but Stinky Slinky gets caught in no man's land, just cannot be there as a Lucio finds a right click to the face. As Moo did top Door, but fell in the meantime. Fuel taking this first fight. It was a long one. It looked SIUC maybe favored, but Fuel able to stabilize and burn a minute off the clock, as well as winning this fight. The ultimates, nothing really going to be up. The first ult fight is going to be that Freya ult, as you have that bonus ult charge with your passive. But I mean, this Freya has the ability to take a lot larger sight lines, a lot more unique angles than the Sojourn. The Sojourn more so be hitting that front line, get that rail shot, try to get that one shot, whereas Freya is going to have the consistent damage in main. as well as Thor. Double Bolt is always a threat. Bubbles come in. The high ground fight for Moo, who switched over to the Winston. Causes Sparks to fall right back up to high, but he's down to 118. He's going to fall.
Yeah, I guess taken out by Scummy. Ranchi managed to take out Bugaboo. Faded Circle takes out Delphi. The Door managed to take out Ranchi, though. Scummy still holding their own, managed to take out Yavariel. And again, holding this point, it seems that they are just managing to hold this first point. The more time they bleed out on this first point, the more advantageous this goes for Fuel.
We saw how hard it was for Fuel to take that first fight on second, right? Finally break through that hold of second point. So if they can hold on first point, second point's going to be equally as hard. Thor and Scummy taking that round, you know, it felt like SIUC had some answers. They're forcing the objective here, but Bugaboo finds Ranchi, who tried to dive in, played a little too aggressive. The Graviton Surge found 5 members of SIUC.
Yes, this is what we like to
Trades
see.
into Spark, but it doesn't matter as the rest of the members of SIUC are sent packing. The Venture switch to try to get some dive, try to get some value onto the backline of Fuel. They have the answer. Is this high ground still taken over by SIUC? Door, again, a disruptor shot finds Faded Circle, which is a healing is not there for SIUC. They have to probably play a reset here, but they don't have the ability to do so. The Venture's burrowed up on high ground, forced to unburrow, but just gets body blocked in this doorway by the legs of Scummy. Now 1 minute remaining on the clock. SIUC just cannot find the answer. They have double support ult. They're fighting into a rally. Kitsune Rush, the overclock for Door, completely take over the... Both teams have Genji ultimate. Dragon Blade to be able to match. There's really no answer. Free rush used early for
Dragon Blade.
SIUC. Blade comes in. Ranchi finds one as the beat is alongside him. Rally used a little bit late here for Bugaboo, but he's able to peel off Ranchi. Do end up losing Door. The rest of the Fuel to fight this as the Kitsune used late on the side of SIUC, but a Blade instead for Spark here pulled. Can they find anything? The slicing and dicing aren't.
No, unfortunately, there's not anything, and it seems currently SIUC is actually pushing this, but however, the tide is turning. The Primal Rage comes out from the Winston. Is it going to be enough? They're holding. They get sent flying!
SIUC, they overinvest, try to kill Spark, who's sitting inside of that room, and they completely ignore the fact that there was a Sojourn and a Zarya pumping damage into them the entire time. Fuel taking a 2-1 lead with a full hold on first point here. Scummy and Spark do it again, but this time they do it the correct direction. As finally trying to find some sort of value. You saw Scummy do a little bit of a best count there at the end. I want to stream. Here's the play from Door, where he basically 1v4 his high ground somehow. Kicks off 2, finds the third on the drop. As yeah, Spark was there to match it, was there to follow up, but really just the DPS showing from Fuel, finding so much value.
And do you know what this means, my friend?
Fuel's
SIUC is on the hot seat.
Fuel's on match point, yeah.
They
and
are
now-
on potential series point to advance in the playoffs.
And I believe we have to go to Escort, as I believe Flashpoint and Hybrid are considered the same map in NECC rules. So we'll be seeing Flashpoint here, or sorry, we'll be seeing Escort, like, so Junkertown, Rialto, or, if you remember the third that's in the pool right now. But
Junkertown, Rialto.
we'll see as Fuel trying to take this one 3-1. SIUC obviously want to force a game 5.
They have to
They
force
have
a game
to force a game.
for
This
us
is
now.
their life. This is their playoff life, right? They are now one map away from being eliminated out of playoffs. Fuel 1 map away from booking their ticket to the next round. See if they can get there.
Stay tuned.
Close my eyes, it's not a dream. There's so much more that I can get. Let me wonder what we could have been. I swear that I couldn't keep. Close my eyes, it's not a dream. 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 There's so much more that I can get. Let me wonder what we could have been. Close my eyes, it's not a dream. I swear that I couldn't keep. Close my eyes, it's not a dream. Close my eyes, it's not a dream. Close my eyes, it's not a dream. Close my eyes, it's not a dream.
Welcome back. Here we are on Gibraltar. SIUC ended up banning Reaper after a bit of a stellar performance there from Door last map. As Fuel going to ban the Winston as we are on a dive-focused map. And instead of playing dive, Fuel decided to play the ground tank war. Want to play this Zarya. So going to be not having contestation of this high ground outside of your DPS. Door here onto the Widow to be a real problem for the side of SIUC. The Freya kind of just pauses in front of Scummy. Scummy ended up getting up on high ground uncontested. Now, Fuel can actually be able to fight their way off here. Map is really just dictated by how much high ground control each team has. Beryl finds that first pick on the Door, likely hard scoping and gets double bolted to the head. Fuel might take a little deficit, however, the cart is already down under this underpass. Already past the hardest part, and now the fight is no longer on high ground. It's going to be right here in main, where the ground tank starts to shine as Scummy finds that pick on the barrel.
And as Moo tries to find some type of assistance with the D.Va, it doesn't help as Scummy manages to blast out. Ranchi goes for a third and isn't being engaged, but Moo being blasted out of the mech is now mechless, gets taken out, and this is a full-on sweep and onslaught from Fuel Esports, already taking the first checkpoint.
5 minutes on the clock here to cap second point here for Fuel. Now, there's going to be a bit of a problem for Scummy is they're not going to be able to contest on top of ship here unless he can do a rocket jump. Never mind. Why would I ever doubt? The Zarya usually, you usually don't want to play these ground tanks because you can't really contest the ship, which is where the highest point of contest on the second point is. But Scummy just said, screw you, I'm getting up here my own way. Now there is a Zarya mirror again, but so far Moo has just been in the deficit in the Zarya mirror. Anytime they've played the Zarya, they just haven't found the value to beat Scummy as they're already under this ship. They're now back on the ground. Door finds that pick, switch over to the Ash for a bit more consistent damage. It's no longer the long sight line for the Widowmaker. Scummy find Ranchi, and it feels like Fuel onslaught just is not stopping. It will not cease.
No, and as this point is being contested, Scummy manages to hold off as Delphi manages to get to, taking out SIUC Zarya, and there's still, the momentum is still being pushed. Bugaboo blasts out one of Stinky Slinky's utilities, and they're just still advancing. They get that second point. We're at 5 minutes and 35 seconds on the clock.
May switch? I mean, this is a very interesting comp here for Gibraltar.
Bastion is showing up?
Lifeweaver, Baptiste is almost a bunker comp from back in the day, but with the Zarya. So, see how much value this can have from SIUC. It can punish an overextended player like Scummy, who is going to get punished here as the Bastion uses it. But the Bob is used here as well as a beautiful Graviton Surge. As soon as his lamp can get broken, but Spark does not have the ammo to break it. I mean, it was getting way too much value, but the Kitsune was used there for Artemis, which meant the rest of Fuel was able to contest that. Kicked off to themselves. Ranchi finds that trade, but Fuel taking over. Ranchi, though, finding a second trade in the meantime. Scummy coming out of spawn here. Fuel keep the cart marching forwards. It feels like there's no sign of stoppage. 5 minutes, and they're already on to last fight territory here. A record-breaking cap potential here for the side of Fuel. Really a dominant start to Gibraltar, which was SIUC's pick. Door finding that pick on the barrel. Blade comes out for Spark, as well as the
they're all running
used for Bugaboo. I mean, Spark has a little bit of extra value, but because of the pedal platform, able to get away from the Genji who dashed just that little bit too early. And now they'll be able to fight main a little bit more, but again, Door finds that pick onto the DPS of Ranchi. Fuel on the back foot. Used, but do they have enough value? Move finally lasers down Scummy and catches Door. The first fight that SIUC has been able to finally win is right at death's door.
But the problem is that they need to
You're for
play
4
a
minutes.
flawless they have to play a flawless defense. They have 3 minutes 55 seconds. They have what, like 6-ish more team fights to go?
Probably more. Fuel just needs to find that one fight. Likely just going to hold on to their ultimates, try to get this 5 ult situation. If SIUC uses more than one ultimate in one of these fights, it's completely game over for the side of SIUC. But a dry fight win there for SIUC as Scummy gets caught by a wall from Ranchi, and Moo able to laser down as that's a max charge Zarya. Is such a problem. 0 ults having to be invested there for SIUC. They're coming up on, they have 3. Top can maybe build an ult quickly. Fuel coming up on 2. Oh, Scummy might use 3rd eventually. SIUC, if they can win these dry fights on repeat, they have a lot more chance to keep this one in. Bob is invested here for Door, just trying to find as much value as possible. Ice Block Force as well as a Lamp, which was stuck on high ground. Fuel firing in. Graviton used for the side of Moo to try to keep themselves alive, but it doesn't matter as Scummy right-clicking away in this small room. It's a 1v1 for the Zarias. May walled their own Zarya off. Faded Circle finds these trades. Bastion ult is used to deny point pressure. Does it stop members of Fuel who keep marching forward into the spawn door of SIUC? Ranchi here lasering, but a beautiful cleanse there from Artemis, as well as Scummy picking off two. The Bastion left alone here on point as members of SIUC keep falling. Fuel keep on marching this forward. It could have been worse, but it's still a 2-minute and 21-second full cap on Gibraltar.
Little Spark is absolutely stunned. He's like, it was that quick?
It's over in the blink of an eye. I mean, Fuel, they had 6 minutes on a time bank at one point, so it could have been worse for SIUC, but still, a almost 3-minute time bank side of Fuel is a hard thing to deal with, especially on a map like Gibraltar, where first point holds are so common. See if Fuel can keep that up, if they can do what they did on, very similar to how they ended up playing Hollywood. They didn't get stuck, though. They got stuck a little bit on last point instead of being stuck on second point. But if it's anything like Hollywood, then they're not going to let first point go.
Oh, no, they're
all.
not. And if SIUC needs to, figure out how to secure a point, don't wall off your tank.
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit of problem. He tries to wall in Scummy, but as the May ended up falling, was not able to take that down in time, which meant Scummy was just kind of stuck in a room with Moo. Moo was really the one stuck in that room as the Kitsune Rush was upping the attack speed. Those right clicks just kept coming out from Scummy and doing so much damage. Is now heading into SIUC's attack. Can they make the same level of, find the same level of success that Fuel found as be rolling out on the Zarya comp yet again. The Zarya Bastion, they're sticking to what they played. That started to get them a little bit of footing, but it's going to be a little bit harder on this attack, especially the Bastion. Varel instead switching over to the Hanzo, trying to find these miracle picks. If you can find these 1, 2, 1 arrows across the map, it can really open up the board here. Hit'll use just to get onto high ground. This little play there from the side of SIUC. Headshot comes in from Door, but doesn't find the kill.
No, it was a good tag, though, to get a lot of damage out. You can also see Bugaboo getting first blood onto Moo, a really good pick. Little Spark on the Genji, blocking and throwing shurikens, getting some good tags, just keeping them back.
Bad spot to fall if you're SIUC.
It's tough. This is not a position you want to be in, but if they can hold this, this is where they hold them.
Fuel can keep this hold up. Yeah, this is really the main point to hold this and the very end of this point. Once they're under the bridge, it's a little bit harder to hold. You usually just have to concede the full bridge and take the fight on the high ground afterwards. As Moo and SIUC are finally getting underneath. Spark going to be stuck here, but does end up getting the dash out. Trying to find that value as the shots from Iveril just are not hitting their mark. Doing some here and there, but it's not going to do too much damage. The railgun goes wide from Door and forced to back away as the team is now taking this fight underneath. Fools, they're not worried to take this high fight only. They're down to take this brawly fight under here. Spark finds that first pick, and now the dash comes in. These resets are up. Spark looking for another. Scummy is going to pick off Moo. Ice block forced out of the May. He will keep on marching forward.
And they sent them right back to their spawn. And this is just this is exactly what you want to see from Fuel Esports. Securing this point, not letting SIUC gain any ground. The moment they get underneath this bridge, it becomes just a slog.
It feels like SIUC, they were really banking on the fact that the Winston wouldn't get banned from the side of High Fuel. Barrel just tries to turn into a turret in front of Scummy, but Scummy does not care. Bursts them down instantly as SIUC, they have to change something up. You're just walking into the same dangers as you've been doing the entire time. Ultimates are going to be coming up soon. Both supports have their ultimate. Fuel's ults are also here. They're about to have 5 up. They haven't had to use an ultimate to win a fight. It's been dry fights here and there. Door finally gets contested here on this high ground, but pulls the overclock and is looking for the shots. Barrel falls. Moo has to be life ripped away by the Life Weaver, as well as the tree, and the Immortality Field had to be invested. Moo will be able to finally pick off Spark. Is Scummy going to fall as well, but it's a costly fight for SIUC, but they finally break the spawn hold. Artemis Door don't want to give up any inches. They find 2 trades. They want to keep this one going, but Yverl and Faded Circle are going to be there to clean it up. Spawn hold broken, but it took 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's the problem. That the spawn hold was broken, as you said, but that was a very Pyrrhic break. They only have 60 seconds left, and it's all going to come down to these next final fights.
4 ultimates versus 3 here. Fuel has the advantage. They use their ults early, especially as they have the support ults. But this wall here is beautiful side of SIUC, as well as the grab and the Bastion ult used on top of each other. Faded Circle and Moo finding their trades. Scummy finds 1, but it feels like SIUC is broken through here with about 4 ultimates invested in the same play. Fuel just were not there ready to respond in time. They will have to give up first point. 3 minutes on the clock. Can they take second point as fast as Fuel did? Or are they going to get stuck yet again? It's not impossible here for SIUC. It's how much time they just got of capping that 1 point. Now they're forced to fight into this high ground of Fuel, who has the positioning advantage. Door as well, coming up on an overclock yet again. Looks for the headshot. Bastion left with 1 HP. He's going to be able to life grip away as Moo is kind of forced to back off here.
And with these engagements now going to see Little Spark trying to move in on the flank, try to get something in the back line. Scummy is getting shredded, being held on by a thread. The health is coming out. The Door manages to take out Stinky Slinky. Little Spark takes out Yverl. Moo takes out Little Spark. And the trades are going out. Scummy takes out Raunchy. Moo takes out the Door. Delphi takes out Faded Circle's utility, and it is just trade after trade after trade. However, still the clock is ticking and is contested. We are now at 1 minute, 59 seconds on the clock for SIUC. It is coming down to the wire.
And Fuel has the favor in this fight as Zarya was just able to keep themselves alive as both supports were there. SIUC only had the 1. The life grip keeps them alive, but it does force Moo to fall. It means they have to take a back step, wait for Moo to come back. The grab there from Scummy bought so much time. He was left to 1 HP, was able to get healed up, and then the grab won the fight as it caught 3 members of SIUC. Now, they have a Mei ult, they have a tree, they have a window, and they have a grab. They kind of want to wait until they have the Bastion ult for this grab, which is really the counter here. They're going to be fighting into a Kiri ult, but who needs a Kiri ult when you can just find a kunai to the head? Artemis picks off Faded Circle as Spark as well, picks off Yverl, and the fight's over before it can even begin for SIUC.
Yeah, no, exactly. Getting those random lobotomies from kunai really turns the tide in these types of battles. Little Spark managing to get a punch onto the Mei. Bugaboo managing to take out a utility from Stinky Slinky and gets another kill on Stinky Slinky. Little Spark getting a kill onto Moo, and it's just another shred, and still not even ult used yet.
Less than a minute here on the clock for SIUC to break this hold from Fuel. They're sitting pretty with 3 ultimates, 2 more on the way, and the only thing that SIUC has to respond is a Mei ult. It has to find everyone of Fuel. It's so hard when they're playing so split here. The Bastion ult is used to try to find some sort of value, break through this hold of the Door. Finally get through, but now they're still in trouble as the overclock is out. There's no lamp. They don't have the survivability. This blade in this room could be deadly.
Here we go.
The rush is used, and Spark slices and dices his way to a victory.
Little Spark just shredding everybody like Darth Vader in the hallway.
The Katsune Rush and the Blade are used to book Fuel's tickets to the next round of playoffs. They take Gibraltar in a dominant fashion with a 2nd point hold, and they beat SIUC Black 3-1.
And that puts them 1 step closer to the championship as Fuel Esports advances onto the 2nd round. And what that play of the game is going to be that Dragon's Blade in the hallway.
Will indeed, yeah,
oh
beautiful
my
blade
gosh,
here. I mean,
10 out of
SIUC
10.
corral themselves into a tight corridor. They try to find some value with the Blizzard, but it just doesn't find anyone, as every member of Fuel able to out damage their compatriots. SIUC Black going to fall, but a valiant effort nonetheless. I mean, the first map, domination. It felt like it could have just been over in the flash if Fuel couldn't find the answer. But they found the solution on 2nd map, which was still a little bit contested. The 3rd map was complete domination, and 4th was domination as well.
Yeah, and it seemed from map 1 to now, there was a change in tactics and a change in mental, because I'm going to be honest, like, I thought after that first map, like, SIUC was kind of going to blitz it, and we were going to be on the back foot trying to sweep back.
Yeah, there
I'm
had
gonna
to
be honest there.
there had to been a massive change. Maybe the coach made some sort of calm. We'll have to see. Hopefully, we can get some insight from the players to what change ended up
Yes.
going down, as we're going to hopefully have one of them interview with us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with that.
Welcome back, everybody, and here we are with an interview with the one, the only Artemis.
Hello.
What a game!
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just want to open it up with I think the question that we're all dying to know. What was the change between map 1 and the rest of the series? Because map 1, I mean, that first point was honestly utter domination, right?
I said that even in our game. I was like, for whatever reason, we kind of just need a warm-up game every single time. We just don't play to our fullest potential. After that full first game, we're like, okay, this is what they do. This is what we need to improve on, and then we just go from there.
I think probably, but this is my personal theory, is that after Bugaboo's crash, they swapped the PCs. He sat where Woody sat and where they played a full game of Valorant and they won.
Oh
so
yeah.
I think they were just in the lucky seat.
I agree. I agree.
The luck really kind of went into that, and just the energy of victory was just there.
I agree. I also think that the fact that we had to like stop for a few minutes to figure it out kind of ruined their momentum. And I'm not saying that's the main reason why we won, but I'm also not saying that wasn't a factor.
Well, I think they still won that map, so I don't think it overall would have broken their momentum. It was more so after that. It felt like some sort of mentality changed. Something
There was
within your
something.
team.
Yeah.
Something must have changed where it went from you guys, being a little bit more back foot, getting completely run over by a Junker Queen, to just completely dominating on the next couple maps.
Yeah.
What was the mentality change you think that ended up happening?
Stop getting run over by the queen. Really. It ultimately came down to the fact of we know she's a problem, and especially with the rush, we had to change something. And their Genji and their Tracer, we had to do something about that, because I know me personally, I was getting run over by the Tracer. I'll be honest. There were some times where the Tracer would just come in, I'd fall over, that's it. And so then we swapped to like Cass and Torb, especially on that first map, and it did get better. And after we saw improvement, we were like, okay, we can do this. We can beat them. We're better. And we went from there.
It seems there were definitely a lot of tactical plays, especially with certain hero bands that kind of played in. And then, like, the door on the Reaper, just making sure to shred into their back line, especially on Hollywood. The moment you broke through that first point when they were securing the high ground, you just blitzkrieg through the rest of Hollywood like it was nothing.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of the moment their line broke, things went south. And then, like Newt brought up in the final map, like the very odd composition that they had with the Bastion and the rest. Like, it was a very odd composition.
Yeah, that Life Weaver Bastion was certainly a play. It was a bit creative, but, it could have worked. But
Seemed like their support may have been a Lucio player. I would be honest. I don't know if he really had anything outside of the Lucio. It's never really over until it's over. But was there a moment in this game where you guys kind of felt like you had it sealed?
after second game, we were like, okay, yeah, no, we have
That
the confidence.
early?
Well, at least for me, I can't speak for the rest of the team, but for me, I was like, after we kind of just started the comeback that first game and that momentum started, I was like, okay, we can do this. Like, we can win, and then it just kind of snowballed from there.
So my last question before we kind of conclude for this is, how will this kind of transition to the next set of games? You don't want this type of snowball to go to your head to the point where you kind of pull an Icarus and fall getting too close to the sun. So how will you kind of, as a team, maintain that positive mental that you got this without being overconfident in your ability?
We just keep practicing, keep doing what we're doing, and we gotta, like, ultimately what you said, we gotta keep in mind that we are good, but there are better teams. We aren't the best. If we were, we would be number one forever and go from there. But we just gotta keep in mind that we are good, but we need to keep up that level in order to keep winning.
Could never really get complacent, right?
Exactly.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on your win today.
Yeah,
Excited
thank you
to
for
see you
having me.
next week in another in your semifinals next week, or is it quarters?
I think
The quarters.
quarter.
Quarters? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, no,
Quarters.
it's gonna be
Oh, no,
semis. It is in
That's
fact
just
semis.
quarters.
Yeah, it's only an 8-person bracket here. So, but speaking of the rest of the week,
Who do
let's
you
take a
want?
look at who we're gonna be seeing on the rest of the fuel streams. It's gonna be Rocket League. I can't lie.
Yeah, it's a
It's-
lot of Rocket League.
It's gonna be a lot of Rocket League. Tuesday seeing Rocket League. Thursday Rocket League. Friday likely gonna see the Overwatch team yet again taking on their semifinals match. So you want to make sure you stay tuned. Follow our socials everywhere. Fanshawe Fuel on all platforms. With that, I've been Newt.
I've been Dragon.
I've been
want-
Artemis.
We want to see you in the next stream.